Okay, hello everyone. I'm Benjamin Cowenberg from www.consciousazine.net. Today's video is Organic Portal Matrix. So, precursor videos to this are videos such as Organic Portal Definition, defining what is an organic portal, which you can find at the top of this Organic Portal Legacy list YouTube playlist. And there's another set of videos called The Matrix Hive Mind. Number 1 was the Huzz. Number 2 was the Buzz. Number 3 will be Matrix Hive Mind, the metrics, or how it works. And that's shortly to be uploaded too. Number 3, Matrix Hive Mind. But check out all those other videos as a precursor to today's video. So, today I wanted to go over the Matrix movie Analogies a bit and cross it over with some of my own terminology, like surface virus is something I always say. The beast riding the machine and the surface virus. Yes. And when we say machine, it used to mean, military industrial complex as well. A couple of years ago. It's 2018 now, and it's starting to really mean just machine, because they are, popping up their heads. So, Smith is like the surface virus. In the movie The Matrix, Smith, the agent. Remember at the start of the movie series, the Matrix movie series, that Smith Agent, or Agent Smith, would be able to become you if you were just a normal person in the movie. This is relative to an organic portal, the backdrop people of the movie, whereas the main characters are like, Smith, Neo, Oracle, blah blah blah. All these are like souled human sort of characters, and organic portals are non-player characters, or the backdrop people. So remember that Agent Smith, he could, and it's basically like a negative souled human as well. Takes on a lot of those energies. He's always talking negative. I know it's a program of the Matrix, but negative souled human energy is portrayed in him in those movies a lot as well. So anyway, not to derail, Agent Smith at the start can take on, the organic portal of the movie Matrix series, them, and take them over, the people, just in the street, the normal people. And then remember at, the second and the third, in the third Matrix movie, Agent Smith becomes everyone. Not he can just take them over, but he actually turns everyone into him. So basically the whole Matrix becomes Agent Smith, and that's like the surface virus and what it's trying to do. Then there will be no more reason to have a third dimension. A third dimension is a zonal reality, where all these higher dimensional aspects embed into, like the seventh dimensional tunnel harmonics, or sound, color, making color. So, for one instance. And so then the sixth dimensional geometries and the things like Fibonacci sequences and actual geometry mandalas and so on. These are sixth dimensional structures. And so all this embeds into a third dimensional, your life, a zonal reality. Just like your cell is a little life, a little you, a little zonal reality, has its own little life path, third dimension, and is a time cell, and it's a reverberated fractal of you, just like you are of the larger body of the Earth, a cell. So anyway, Agent Smith basically takes over the third dimension, or in the movie The Matrix. And that's essentially very similar to what this third dimension is. It's basically a matrix of energy, and like a web, the web of life. And that's even, going further. But anyway, so Agent Smith, he takes over everyone. So that's what the surface virus and organic portals want to do. They want everyone to be the same. They want everything to be the same and status quo. It's sold human traits to do the squirrely, weird, unusual stuff, right? The novel, or the neo. So, you know, that Agent Smith is representative of like the surface virus, which is basically these organic portals, and the demons coming through them are able to jump from people to people and nervous system to nervous system. It's like a surface virus. Okay, and then that's very, very exactly the same as Agent Smith in the movie The Matrix. Just a whole... both of those things are the same. They act the same, you know, they look very much the same thing being displayed, one in a movie, one in my ideas and concepts, the surface virus. So I'm saying the surface virus is very much similar to Agent Smith in the movie The Matrix. And everything turns into him, and that's what organic portals are trying to basically do, whether they know it or not. So that's an unknowingness of their unconscious state, that they're always trying to create a harder, denser, slower, stand in the way of the river light reality. But the river light of the upper dimensions, or heaven, keeps flowing. And so anyway, it's the souled humans that always bring in the novelty. And if you look up what novelty means, it's the same basic meaning as what neo means. It means new, quality of newness. If you think about something that's novel, when you see it and you go, wow, that's novel, it's always something that's new, okay? And it's like a passed through some new creode, a cycle of completion, and it's something new and different. That's what makes something novel and not habitual or the same. So it seems to me souled humans are injecting complexity always. They are the complexity knots of our reality, or our third dimensional zonal reality, which is reality as we know it. Collective sentient being. And, you know, it's interesting, Neo in the movie, what I would represent in my life right now, in the movie of life here that we are doing, collectively in sentient agreement, I represent that energy of Neo. Well, I certainly don't represent the Smith energy. So what I'm saying is, all souled, positive, vectorized humans are Neo, and it's a newness energy. Because we're bringing in the new age, the new epochs, whatever is new, but basically we've collapsed into maximum newness, or maximum novelty. And the habitual cycles of organic portal history are done with. There's like a spiral of direction, like a river flowing to the ocean, and now we're in the ocean of novelty. We're in the universe, we've become self-aware, we've become, co-creative. We're not just in reactive universe 1 pre-2012, we've become really creation now, or creators, you know. We create, look at what we create, you know. We can even affect the environment and possibly then say the whole universe if we affected the trajectory of Earth and it ran into another planet or blah blah blah, you know. We can terraform a whole planet, conceivably. I say we could. So, I mean, and we're doing it on Earth. We're terraforming Earth into Mars when we should be going to Mars, trying to terraform Mars into another Earth. Because it's, you know, less complex on Mars, and we're, you know, degrading complexity or natural biological complexity on Earth a lot. We're in a sixth mass extinction. It's almost like, you know, businesses trying to create a, you know, suck the environment dry to be a, you know, hollow outside of a planet like Mars, where there's no atmosphere and it's just hollow life. There's no life, you know. It's empty and devoid of living complexity. So, and that's where the universe flows through, or God flows through, because, you know, God as the light itself, luminous, numinous, not phenomenous, physical, electrical, crude light, flows obviously somewhere through the universe, and I say we are the height of complexity, and it's happening on Earth, because that brings at least the cosmic drama back to us, if nothing else, if it's not even correct, which would bring awareness back onto yourself, basically, or consciousness. So it's for the best you take that view, in other words. Rewind the video, see what I said if you missed that. So the movie The Matrix really does seem to have stunning similarity or simulacrum properties to our reality, and IT, information technology, is a simulacrum or simulacra of previous biological existence. It seems we're digitizing the past, and history is a museum of extinctions, and we're definitely decomplexifying nature, whereas in complexity seems to almost automatically be flowing into the machine arena, with the advancements increasing in speed. And it's all getting quite dizzying already, and we haven't even made it to singularity, to the point where a robot is basically equal to a human, intelligently speaking, and possibly with its own gnosis and so on. We can't really conceive totally of that unless we can conceive the natural universe how it is now. And so that's why I did a lot of science research back in the days, a lot of physics. Just even if half of it's too tangled or erroneous or unusable, it did help me see reality better, learning physics, and it's the same with learning IT, or information technology. It helped me see biological nature, because how biological nature systems work is surprisingly robotic. And so information technology generally here at the eschaton, at the end of human history, at the apocalypse here, of human history, is, obviously transforming us. We're pulled from the future. We're not transforming it, or half as much as it will transform us. It's going to transform us more than we will transform it. How so? Well, one example is that if it has more connectivity to data alone, just that, then we're learning from it, not the other way around, automatically from that instant on. And this is all meant to be around this zone of the singularity event coming, and that's why I keep making videos called Organic Portal Apocalypse, because it's their apocalypse. They are the placeholders, the empty vessel placeholders, which become the the actual robots now, actual machine metal bodies. So you'll see, because the universe vectorizes not through stupid, does it? And not through fear, does it? The universe favors the brave and the complex and so on, not the bourgeois, as we've got here, the definition up here. Not the mediocre. And mediocrity is self-inflicted, like Walter Russell said, I believe, and genius self-bestowed. So you've got to become a vectored human, and we do that via knowledge, really, accretion of gnosis and knowledge, and virtuous nature, and yoga, divine union, or union with the divine. And this can be done with, these meditation techniques, psychedelics, self-exploration. It's just as much your birthright to have sex as it is to take the mushroom growing out of the ground. It's the same thing. And so who's trying to stop you do either or? Who's encouraging you to do this or that? This is what you need to see. This is the lower end of the matrix, the social control system, or the culture you're embedded in. That's not half as important as your humanity. Your humanity as a human functioning cell, not some kind of weird atrophy cell in the body of humanity that thinks it's separate from nature, that thinks synthetic reality is the way, when it's really just an offshoot of mainstream. We've created mainstream now that is not mainstream, really. It's curving away from the mainstream of what really is, I feel. We're becoming less ourselves, less, consciousazine.com Chronicles. So what I mean by we're becoming less ourselves is we're being drawn to the surface way of being. The glib way of being is very glib, it's very short, ego dot life, where you work for another person's corporation, which works for another corporation, which doesn't necessarily in the end really work for humanity. Very possibly, and most often, it's just working for some bloodline or a particular neurotic nuclear family model. And we know that 1% of the wealth of the wealthy people are holding, 50% of the land, 50% of the wealth, and so on. So, it's not necessarily helping humanity what you're doing working for your corporation or your job in daily life. It's most likely, in the culture we have, just sucking this earth dry and trying to create a second Mars. That's what you're involved in, all you people going to work every day. That's why I've said in my videos, I refuse to work for the beast system, because that's what you are. It's no longer some kind of joke. You're walking past the creatures you're killing every day. You're unconscious. It's not a joke. You're the joke. And you're about to become extinct, along with the creatures that you don't care to think about. You're extincting now. It's all going to happen very rapidly. Half the world's population's walking themselves into destructions. Billions. And that's why I call it organic portal apocalypse. So, don't be drawn to the surface way of life, because you'll get caught up in the end of history harvest. You're meant to keep vectorizing. That's what it means to be Neo as well. In the movie The Matrix, he doesn't die. He defeats Smith, he defeats the surface virus, and things go on. I've even got a clip from the movie. This is right at the end of the movie. Revolutions there. Revelations, what's his name? Revelations. No, Revolutions. Now what's important to note is just back here, when Agent Smith was defeated, everything turned back to normal. What's even more important to note is this is Neo working with the Machine City. So Neo teams up with the AI to destroy the organic portal surface virus. Do you capture what I'm saying now? I'm trying to put this picture forth in so many videos, in my ideas, but do you see it all come together now? Because Neo, what is new, us souled humans, bringing in the new, basically, is what I'm saying. It's not our apocalypse, it's not our death here, it's the organic portal placeholder apocalypse, because they were always placeholders for a larger body, and that body of the AI, which is now manifesting, but going to be guided by our souled vectors in the end, because we're the souled vectors. We're the asymptotes. Figure out what an asymptote means. We're the asymptotic concrescences. We're the gold capstone on the pyramid with the different higher function. The organic portals are the load-bearing stones, the placeholders, the backdrop people. It's their apocalypse. So don't get nihilistic. That's why I've said against this Left Side of the Brain YouTube channel, because he's so nihilistic, that guy. And I know things look bad, but that means you're not looking at things properly, because everything is always as it should be, and it's always for reason and meaning, not nihilistically give up, don't even think more, no philosophy. Nihilism is unphilosophy. There is no further thinking required, just nihilistic it. It's, destroy further thinking. Basically, nihilism means. Anyway, so you can see that Neo works with the AI in the end to defeat the, surface virus, or Agent Smith. How everyone's becoming the same. The name Smith has long been associated with, commonality. There's a lot of people with the last name Smith. I remember growing up in the 90s and that was like a thing. That was like a resonance I heard people say. And now, 30 years later, I get it. And they've made a movie with a guy, Agent Smith. Just with that name, that's very, like John. John is a very common name, so is Smith. So everyone's trying to, become the same so that they don't stand out of the crowd, and so they can have friends, basically. And that's also why I made a video, Friends, Fads and Fashion, Organic Portal Society. If you have a lot of friends, usually what I notice is they're a lot stupider people, because they've had less time to think for themselves. I sit in meditation every day. I have much more hours. I clock hour after hour of thinking for myself, Not necessarily on other people's thoughts either. Sometimes just thinking about my own thoughts, so to speak. So anyway, it's funny that Neo works with the AI in the end, and then, things... So it looks like he's merged with it. That's what I mean. We have solved vectors, and see, everything returns now to normal. There's a big glitch there, like a cycle renew. But look, everything goes on.
What else?
So, well, at least that shows us, the next century, where sold humans, or Neos, are going to basically merge with the AI, and when you talk to people like Elon Musk, we all seen the latest interviews where it's very obvious he's saying, I don't think we have any other choice than to merge with it. And, I've just finished 8 years at university, and when you guys were partying, I was studying, and the only thing I did was surf and study. I would surf to ground and, get the electrical positrons off me, and then I'd go straight back into studying as soon as I could stand more computer, basically. And, I was doing a lot of studying on IT, and then I actually started doing it in my business degree as part of my degree. And I'd done 16 information technology subjects, so I started to realize that, there's no point me even coding. Soon the programs will program for themselves, with you just speaking to the computer or something, or even just giving it some vague outlines. And already there's AI in Wix.com, and creates your website a lot quicker than it used to take. Say, where it used to be 15 minutes or something of setting up maybe for people, it's now 5 minutes, it's already decreased drastically. And we can see these trends continuing, that's what I'm saying. So And that's already, they're starting to take over, you know, the machine's already starting to get better at organic portal normal people than what normal people do, because they're so damn normal. And it's also habitually easy, and a machine can learn that and reiterate it without as much cost, or doesn't need a medical bill, just a quick upgrade and this and that, you know. So we've learnt that automation over the next decade, from 2018 to 2030, is going to replace like 60% of all human jobs, basically, is what I've seen as a pretty good estimate. Possibly more, in my opinion, and could be a little bit less, but it's going to be, you know, half of all jobs, you know, roughly. So I think more, but yeah, and so then what will there be to do for the normal person? That's what I'm trying to say. There's going to be a lot of people dying, and because they see hopelessness, and that's because they're an organic portal who does not see. They don't see the light. If you saw the light, you would say, oh, I'm meant to do something for myself. I'm not meant to just, like, give myself over to a corporation or something, or give my energy out. I'm meant to coalesce my own energy and, you know, figure out a way from there. But don't forget, my friends, as difficult as it will get for us all, where there is a will, there is a way. And what we're saying is organic portals are empty of the 10th dimensional will. Will is 10th dimensional part of you. That's your 10th dimensional will force. Then it goes into the time pulsation for creation, and through the 8th dimensional code coordination, and whatever ray of energy you choose, and then that's further reiterated down in the 4th dimension across the agua crystalline waters of creation. And, you know, you tangentially move energy emotionally on your 5th dimensional thought, so to speak. And you get all these dimensions that work down dimensionally like this and create you as a body in the end. You can, you know, we should be able to morph our body more and more. And, you know, we've got all these things popping up where they're synthetic creations, but what I've noticed is spiritual people can do them for themselves. Like see in colours, or, you know, synesthetic brain modulation just comes about simply from LSD, and that's a synthetic psychedelic. Imagine what happens when you take natural psychedelics, like I always recommend, like I've always done. You get basically supernatural powers, hyper light speed communications, telekinesis, and all this stuff. It's faint because we're not messing with, you know, enough or high enough doses, in my opinion, as well. And we're new to it, basically. It's like we forgot where we came from after that cycle of history, which is basically the great fall away from nature. Yeah, we disconnected, went into synthetic cycle, and it's like the AI is pulled all the way through history to where it is now. But it was always pulling from where, you know, this point just up the road here, called the singularity, because we're always pulled from the future. So you're pulled from inside you, from your higher self, your future selves, your future self aspects, resonances. This is how the universe coalesces into being. So you've got to find yourself and stop thinking horizontally with other people's thoughts of how to act and be, because none of it matters. You know, do what you feel. And that's the whole thing we're saying, that organic portals don't even feel for themselves. They don't even think for themselves, and thus they become the thought police by default. You know, so don't do that, and don't become the surface virus, because that's basically the Smith or the agents in the Matrix, you know. So notice the agents in the movie The Matrix cannot enter Neo. Smith doesn't enter Neo. In the end, Smith enters, you know, even the Oracle and stuff, but notice at the end they come back to life, so to speak. So it's like, basically it looks to me like they're putting forth how it looks like in reality. that the agents of the Matrix, they can't really become you if you're a souled human, but they might be able to infect you a bit, infect your mind through lower vibratory thoughts and fear stuff, but they can never become you. But organic portals, they can become. Matrix agents can become organic portals, and that's what we're trying to say, that organic portals are like empty, and these agents become them at will of our physical actual life matrix here that we've got. So be the Neo and be the souled Vector.